from here, even in Tehran.
So, Hanukkah is many things. Hanukkah is very much connected with Moshiach in many ways. But one interesting discussion that is connected with Hanukkah is the fact that when Moshiach will come, the halacha will be like Beis Shamai. It's brought down. Yeah, so we know that by Hanukkah there's a big machlokes between Beis Shamai and Beis Hillel. How you light the menorah? Do you light one candle, right? Do you add one candle every night? Or do you start the first night with 8 candles and then you work your way down? 8, 7, 6, 5.
Some other halachas according to Beis Shamai is still.
Huh?
Still would be according to Beis Shamai.
So the halacha now follows Beis Hillel. The famous remez in the word Chanukah, Ches Neiris, Halacha ki Beis Hillel. Chanukah is Rosh Tevis, 8 candles, and halacha follows Beis Hillel. When Mashiach will come, it's known that halacha will be like Beis Shamai. In general, the halacha will be like Beis Shamai. So it's a big discussion. I just want to discuss some of the nekudas, some of the points that are associated with this topic. First of all, if I'm not mistaken, I think the source is often quoted in the name of the Arizal, that the halacha will be like Beis Shamai. I think the actual source is in the Mikdash Melech. Mikdash Melech was Mekubal, is accepted by us, but he's not. I don't know if they found yet in the actual Kisvei Hari. What there is something else. What there is a little bit. Rab Shlomo Buzaglu, he was a Mekubal, very simple. I'm not sure. Of course, absolutely. But the truth is that the fact that halacha will be like Beis Shammai follows something which is clearly discussed in Kisvei Arizal. What Rebbe writes in Tanya in Perek Nun, which is the fact that when Mashiach will come, the Gevura will be the Ikar. It says Arizal writes, when Mashiach will come, the Levim will become Kohanim. The Kohanim will be Levim, like this. The Levim, the Zmanas at this time are considered secondary to the Kohanim. Huh? Right. The Levim will become Levim. It says the Levim will become Kohanim.
It doesn't say Kohanim become Levim.
Does it say that the Kohanim will become Levim?
It doesn't say that.
What?
It says Levim become Kohanim.
So it's not why. Why the Levim going to become Kohanim? Because the Levim, their avodah, they served Hashem in a way of Gevura. The Kohanim served Hashem in a way of love. The Kohanim didn't really both serve Davish in a way of love. But the Kohanim's love was a love which was a calm love. Avan and Shachas Kemai. A love which goes like water. The Levim, they served Davish, Arakish Kayesh, flaming fire, like a Kalois HaNefesh type of love. A love which the soul wants to leave the body. So La'asad Lavai, the Levim will become Kohanim, which means that they're going to be the Iker, and the Mashmos, HaPashut is that the Kohanim will be secondary to the Levim. It's a whole discussion. The Rebbe explains how do you fit this with the rules of Torah that they're not. How could there be a change in the laws of Torah? So the Rebbe explains, you look in the Shurim Sefer Tanya, lessons in Tanya, in Perek Nun, the Rebbe explained that La'asad Lavai, the Neshamas that are Levim today will be born to Kohanim in the future. So the actual the law and the Torah that a Kohen is someone that's descended of Aaron HaKohen, that's going to remain. It's just that the Neshamas, today the Neshamas of Kohanim are those Neshamas that are associated with this particular avodah of serving Hashem in a calm love. The love of Kishvei Yesh, of a flaming fire, comes from the Levim. That's the avodah of Levim. Lost love with the Neshamas will be reversed. A lot more to discuss about it. That wasn't the topic of this year, but the word is that in that same point is in the Kisvei Arizal. You see, it's all connected that the Gevuras are the Ikar. That lost love will be the Gevuras Ikar, and this is the explanation why when Mashiach will come, the halacha will be like Beis Shamai, because Beis Shamai, the Rebbe explains in Akdam at the time, the Rebbe already explained that Beis Hillel, their avodah was chesed. This is they were more in a way of love. That's why they were more lenient. What's the idea of being more lenient? The idea of being more lenient is giving more room for things to be included in Kedusha. Beis Shamai was more strict. Beis Shamai, like we find in the famous stories in the Gemara, Masechta Shabbos, a number of instances where people came to Shammai to convert them, right? The guy came to Shammai and says, convert me, and the condition teach me the Torah on one foot. So he sent him flying. Shammai sends him flying. He comes to Hillel. Hillel tells him, love, you've done what you don't like to be done to yourself, don't do it to your friend. The rest is commentary, yeah. So Shammai was very strict. Hillel saw that if he worked with him and was mukad of this guy, he will get him to understand and appreciate the true value of Torah. So Hillel was chesed, Shammai was gevura. So now the way the world runs is chesed is zikr. The main thing is chesed. Elam chesed yibana. The world can't run with strict gevura. But Shammai is also lovely. The gevura will be ikar. The way the world will be on a higher level, there the level of gevura will be able to be revealed. So Shammai will be the main. So the halacha will be like Shammai.
The gevura won't be gevura as we do in the today. The gevura will be haskabas of chayes. In other words, using the union of gevura in more chesed, the more forceful, or more chayes, more light, more.
One way of explaining it is that today, not everyone is on the level to be so medayik. There's many chumras, and every day, there's ein sof how many chumras you could be machmer or gabe chumra. Today, for most people, just drives them crazy. You can't say they wish it that way. But there are yechidei school. There are certain people that on the contrary, they could live a life that they're extremely machmer in every single thing. So today, avodas Hashem, the world can't. It says Nebuchadnezzar created the world. He wanted first to create it in midas hadin. He saw that the world won't survive the strict judgment. So he connected it with the midah of rachim, of mercy. So today, it's impossible that our Nahag and Torah mitzvah should be exactly in the eifin of Beis Shamai. But loss of love will be in a higher level, will be able to contain that, will be able to internalize it. Before we got there, just a few points. First of all, there's a few things need to be discussed. First of all, there's the halachic aspect over here. What do we mean by the halachic aspect? Is the Torah, there's no change in Torah. Can't be a change in Torah. So what does it mean? The loss of love, the halacha will all of a sudden change like Beis Shamai. All of a sudden wake up one day, the halacha changes like Beis Shamai. How could that be?
It's not wake up one day. Moshiach is coming, you not wake up one day.
Moshiach comes, and then right away the halacha is like Beis Shamai.
I'm not talking in time. We're talking, it's going to be many changes.
And no chanami, but how could if this changes? Well, the shilas that in Torah, how could there be? Doesn't make a difference in one. How could it be that the Torah should be changed? So the simple explanation for this is that in the level of nigla, in the level of pshat, the Rebbe explains also in that footnote to lessons in Tanya and Perek Nun. The Rebbe explains that the Sanhedrin, when Moshiach will come, the Rebbe explains this also. When Moshiach will come, the Sanhedrin will once again re-examine the halacha, and then in the minds of the Sanhedrin, it's going to make more sense. What I don't know how to say. It will be more understood according to the way of Beis Shamai. So the majority of the Sanhedrin will then pass in the halacha like Beis Shamai. And there's the Milsa B'Taim, there's an added point over here. It says in the level of Pshat, it says that they said that the Shammai, the students of Shammai were much sharper than Beis Hillel. But also, people that are Gevura, their minds sometimes are just trying to make a little bit more Charif and Maksha. Beis Shammai were more Charifim than Beis Hillel.
Esav l'Moshe. Red is Gevura.
Yeah.
But he couldn't handle the Gevura.
Yeah. So it says that Beis Shamai mechaded ditzvei. Beis Shamai more sharper than Beis Hillel. It's just that the halacha followed Beis Hillel. It says that Beis Hillel merited to have the halacha was neichin v'aluvin hoyi. Beis Hillel was more bittul. So in being able to be mechaven to Ratzon Eli, being able to, so to say that to figure out what the Eibishter wants. So sharpness of intellect is not always the only tool to get there. It's when even if you're not so sharp, but if you're more bottleneck, you're more of a vessel for the Ratzon Eli and will of the Eibishter. But in understanding, Torah Shammai was sharper. So Mashiach will come, everyone, the Rambam writes, you call Yisrael Chachamim Gedolim, all the Yidden will be much smarter, will be very smart people. How much more so the Sanhedrin, which are the Chachamim amongst Yidden themselves, the wise men amongst Yidden will be much smarter than any Sanhedrin ever was. So then, in the mind of the Sanhedrin, the reasons of Beis Shamai will, so to say, we make more sense, be more understood. As Al Derech, similar, Mepharshim say, similar to what we find, it says that the Halacha doesn't follow Rav Meir. Why? It says the Chachamim Shevil to Rav Meir, it says that Rav Meir, Lo Yordu Chachamim Lo Seif Taita. The Chachamim couldn't figure out the depth of his reasoning. So, he was one and they were the majority, so the Halacha follows the majority. So, and that itself is a discussion. The question is, the Chachamim know that Rav Meir's understanding is much deeper than theirs. So, they understood that as well. So how could they pass an opposite like Rav Meir? Because they have to pass in how they understand. That's what they wish to want. So if all the Chachamim would reach the level of understanding like Rav Meir, so then the reasoning of Rav Meir would now be internalized and their understanding will make sense to them, then they'll pass like Rav Meir. So Al Derech Zeh, Poshtim Shat, the Sanhedrin will once again convene and they'll in their minds,
You're saying there isn't any Bechirat Chavshi when Mashiach?
what does that do with Bechirat
You
Chavshi?
say their mind would be like that.
Their mind will be much smarter.
Why
If you're
should
created much smarter, there's nothing you
They
saw.
cannot think what they want to think.
They could think what they
They have
want
to think something.
No. They could think what
that
they
Hashem,
No,
put them in
no,
their
no.
mind.
You have two
You
people
have-
arguing, a smarter man argument and it's not the smart man argument. So it means that the smarter man has less bechid because he's smarter.
I'm trying to say the Moshiach will come. Why all of a sudden they're going to think about Beis Shamai? In other words, let me explain to you. You have an argument.
The system is
No.
different.
You have I'll explain. You have an argument between the Ragat Shavar, let's say, and between a simple Rav. Who do you think is going to his understanding is greater? The Ragat Shavar. Now, chances are that we don't understand what the Ragat Shavar is saying. Yeah. So when we have to pass in the Halacha and Ragat Shavar is telling us to Svaris, Api Allah, we're not going to pass him like him because we don't understand what he's saying. But if our minds will become a little bit more sharper and we'll be able to understand what he's saying, so then all of a sudden it's going to make sense to us exactly what he's saying. We're going to pass him like him. So when Mashiach will come, since we will be sharper, so the reasoning of Beis Shamai will be understood to us, will make more sense to us. So we'll pass him like Beis Shamai. Not sure that our mind is going to change. No, nothing is going to change. We will be smarter, so we'll be able to appreciate the deeper thought, the deeper way of looking at it, which we weren't able to appreciate until now.
Look, the Gemara tells one that there was arguments, and they asked the Eibishter what Shiloh Behead is. Of Rabbi Nachmani. They passed him then again, not like the Eibishter. The Eibishter said one way, and we passed him out.
HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that's the...
What do you mean? Yeah, sorry. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said this way. Man Nechach is Rabbi Nachmani. Not like the Eibishter. Not like HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Fine. So that is where now. Another point here is, I think the Rebbe once mentioned, if not mistaken, regarding Chanukah. The Rebbe said there was certain things that if Chanukah you have to figure out if you're going to lie like Beis Shamai. So the Rebbe said doesn't mean that within 1 second that Moshiach comes, all of a sudden all the halachas are going to change like Beis Shamai. It will take time. It doesn't mean that the second the Moshiach comes, right away the halachas like Beis Shamai. It could be a process of understanding. Chacham Yisrael will come and convene and think.
The hardship of all these things really is that the one in Shabbos says that the time when Elias, when they went to Elias, when they went to Elias, and the fact is not like everything like Beis Shamai. The Gemara says it was kosher liyisrael like the day of the April. It's mind-boggling.
There's already biyur.
And no, forget the indication that. So what happened over there? It was negative Teda. It was a Klon Mateda. There was Rabbi.
It was the whole Seichel of the Rebbe about the beginning of the Dvarim, the Pasuk of Val, about the day that the Torah was translated to Greek, was Kiyom Kosher Kiyom Shnasa B'Y Ha'egel. The Rebbe, I think, touches upon, I don't know if the Rebbe touches upon this much. The Rebbe gives a very interesting view. Whatever, I don't know. I saw it discussed. Now, there's another point before we can. So that's one thing. Another thing is a question arises, which is that we have a halacha today. There's a famous story in the Masechta Brachos that Tarfon followed Beis Shamai. Beis Shamai says when you say Shema, so by night when you say Shema, you should lay down, recline, however exactly you need. When you say Shema in the morning, you should stand up, because the pasuk says, "V'shach b'chor v'kumecha." If you say Shema when you lay down, when you get up, Beis Shamai in the Surah Torah is telling you what position your physical body has to be. Beis Hillel say no. Beis Hillel says, the Torah also says, when you're walking in the road, which means you could say Shema, whichever position you are. Whether you're sitting, you're walking. So Beis Hillel says, when the Torah says, when you lay down and you get up, it's only referring to the times. You have to say Shema at the time you get up and at the time you lay down. Not that this is the position your body has to be when you say the Shema. You should be laying down at night and standing up in the morning. No, the Gemara is the Maishos Rab Tarfon. It's a Mishnah that he did. The Tarfon says the thing that he did like Beis Shamai, and he almost lost his life. Robbers came to attack him, and he just escaped with his life. So they told him, "Was kedai yitzalach of batzcha? You were deserving that this should happen because you went against the words of Beis Hillel." So once the halacha was passing like Beis Hillel, you're not allowed to follow Beis Shamai. It says that Beis Shamai mokim Beis Hillel in the Mishnah. Beis Shamai, the place of Beis Hillel doesn't exist. So all of a sudden, what's going to happen? So there's two questions over it. First of all, what does that mean? If the halacha will be like Beis Shamai, what was so wrong with the fact that Tarfon already Bisman Hazeh followed Beis Shamai? And second of all, the question, and there's another question which the Rebbe asks, the Torah is eternal. If Baslavi, the halacha will change, so then it seems, if we go now backwards, in times of Moshiach, the halacha becomes like Beis Shamai. So for all the years in the time of Galus, or beforehand that we're doing the halacha like Beis Hillel, how are those halachas eternal? Well, now, after Mashiach comes, we pass them completely different. So everything we do in time of Galus, it's true, my neighbors should want like this now, want like that then, but how does it continue on? Every time you do a mitzvah, it's in your mitzvah, it's an eternal thing. But if at a certain point you change the whole way you do the mitzvah, how could you say that the way you did the mitzvah before continues forever? So regarding the first thing, the Rebbe says, whatever, I've seen it in Sfarim at least, that Taka Beis Shamai Beis Hillel, in other words, the reason why that Tarfon was Mischai Benash reserving Chaimish, because Bisman Hazeh, this is, right now you have to follow Beis Hillel. The way the world runs, we can't follow Beis Shamai. In this setting, the way we are right now, if somebody Taka does like Beis Shamai, he's Mischai Benash, he's Chayiv Misa, because he's going against the order, the way David should set it up in this world for now. Lots of love, when Mashiach will come, be a totally new order, a totally new way how the world will run. Then the halacha will be like Beis Shamai. But now a person can say, since halacha will be like Beis Shamai in the future, I'll right now live that way myself.
Sometimes it's not only a Hiddur mitzvah, it's contradicting whatever. Like for example in Hanukkah.
Yeah.
If you like it the day, then it's contradicting.
You could like to Menaitis.
By Rav Tarfon wasn't contradicting, he did something extra.
Right,
he shouldn't still do it. He shouldn't
right,
do it.
But the word was that there's another interesting pshat on that word. I'll just say once it says Beis Shamai Beis Hillel ain't a Mishnah. Beis Shamai is not considered a opinion, so to say, or a Mishnah, a teaching in the place of Beis Hillel. It says a very chassidish attach. Beis Shamai is so much deeper and greater than Beis Hillel that Beis Shamai and Beis Hillel and Mishnah, they're not on the same league as Beis Hillel. So in compared to Beis Hillel world that Beis Hillel is in, their opinion is not mentioned b'chal. It's not an opinion, not because it's completely inferior, but because it's in its source is completely higher.
When Shabbos says the Gabi of Stam Mishnah, that what is asks where is Stam Mishnah, and when it quotes a Mishnah that's Machlekes Beis Shamai Beis Hillel, and you can't say that he doesn't learn like Beis Hillel because the Rashi says over there because Beis Shamai's opinion it doesn't exist. There's only das. It's a Stam Mishnah. The Das Beis Hillel, all the Beis Shamai is arguing over there, but being that over there it's Beis Hillel, it says it's a Stam Mishnah like this way. There was a Beis Shamai doesn't even exist.
Right, it means Beis Shamai.
Mishnah
So in other words, so Beis Shamai doesn't exist. So what's going to happen in Losel Love? He says, interesting, because again, it's Chassidish pshat, that it doesn't exist means that Legabi now it doesn't exist, or I saw a certain sefer that he says it's so high and so deep, and so hidden, whatever you want to call it, Legabi, the way we serve the Eibush now, it doesn't exist, but when Mashiach will come, then we'll be able to access it. But the question is, what is going to happen with all the Avodah that we did now in the time, that we did now, like Beis Shamai? How is that? How can we say that the Torah is eternal? The Torah that we're doing now is eternal. So there's two answers of the Rebbe about this. And here's a very interesting twist that happens. First answer of the Rebbe says in a few places, is that it's true when Mashiach will come, the Halacha will be like Beis Shamai. But all the Giluyim, everything that's going to happen when Mashiach will come, comes through the preparation, comes through our avoid in the time of Galus. So even though when Mashiach will come, our avodah will be in a completely different level and a completely different order, but nevertheless, we'll still, even in the time of Gula, we'll still be able to appreciate how it was precisely our avodah in Galus that brought us to this state. So therefore, even though in the time of Mashiach Halacha will be like Beis Shamai, but since the Torah mitzvahs that we did now in the time of Galus, where the Halacha is like Beis Shamai, was what prepared us for Mashiach, so that will remain. Even Losel Lava Yitzal Derech Asher Misha Bolakam and Talmudi B'Yad. It says in Gan Eden, you have to learn the Torah first down here before you learn it in Gan Eden. So even though the Torah in Gan Eden is Beinarech, completely incomparable to the Torah way you learn here, but it's only through the Torah that you learned here we'll be able to understand the Torah in Gan Eden. Because that through the Avodah now, according to Beis Shamai, we'll be able to.
But doesn't answer the question.
So in other words, so there's two things, huh?
You didn't answer the question about L'tim Chlefes.
Not answering L'tim Chlefes. L'tim Chlefes is Api Pshat, you could say, because the Shaila is L'ch'oira, the word here it says, that everything in Torah is Nitzki. It says, Ezor Machlekes, Machlekes Shem Shemaim, Seifel Iskayim. It says that both opinions will remain forever. How could you say the opinion of Beis Shamai will remain forever? So one simple answer you could say is that sometimes even if the halacha doesn't follow an opinion, but his thought, his svara, the idea that he mentions, you could still apply. And in another case, and in other words, the thought process that he used is true. Like every havamin in Torah, every opinion in Torah is still true, even if you don't follow the halacha like it, because even avodas Hashem is true. Like Chassidus sometimes explains certain opinions that the halacha doesn't follow like them, but Chassidus is a lesson we learn from them in avodas Hashem. So that's one level. Another level, the Rebbe says furthermore that even since the Giluyim Losel will come through our avodah b'zman hazeh, so since what led to the Giluyim of Losel is Davke the avodah now that we did now that followed Beis Hillel, so Beis Hillel's opinion carries through forever. But then the Rebbe, famous, I think it was had in Kuntas in Tishrei Nun Beis, the Rebbe said that a new Chiddush Mamish. The Rebbe said that the Rebbe wasn't happy with this. The Rebbe says, but at the end of the day, we learned that the halachas in the Torah are eternal. So the halacha now is like Beis Hillel, it has to be eternal forever. The halacha will be like Beis Hillel. How's it shayach that will be lost when Mashiach will come? The Rebbe says a very big chiddush. The Rebbe says when Moshiach will come, first will be the avodah like Beis Shamai, and it's explained in a few places. When Moshiach will come, the avodah of Beis Shamai is a much deeper and higher avodah. That's whatever it is. But then there'll be a higher level. There'll be a level. The Rebbe explains. The Rebbe goes. That's the famous sikh of mitzvahs bekel. To be a level where we're not going to do mitzvahs because we're commanded to do them. We'll do mitzvahs automatically because we'll be one with Hashem. And Hashem's will is going to be expressed automatically in this world. Now, in Hashem's will, both Beis Shamai and both Beis Hillel are true. So therefore, mitzad, as long as we're serving the Eibishter, so there's going to be, this is the way we serve the Eibishter, is man HaGolos, it's going to be a much higher service of the Eibishter, lots of love, which will follow Beis Shamai. Then it'll become a higher point. It's going to be when we'll become totally one with the Eibishter, and automatically we will fulfill the Ratzon of the Eibishter because we're one with him, not because we're doing it to fulfill a command. So at that point, what means is that the will of the Eibishter, as it is by the Eibishter, gets revealed in this world. The Eibishter has both Beis Shamai and Beis Hillel. How could you have two opposite opinions coming together at the same time? That is Nimna HaNimnoi. See, you have Chassidus of the Eibishter, you can have two opposites at the same time. So in the Geir Chanukah, it's not such a big deal. You can always buy two menorahs. You can always have one menorah, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Another menorah, which is it comes to other things here, it's already impossible to eat. So there, the word is, it's not about us anymore. Human being can only do one way. When when what's going to happen is that it's going to be the Eibishter's will being expressed in the world, then you're talking, so to say, the way it's Misad the Eibishter. Misad the Eibishter, he has both opposite opinions. By him, it's not a contradiction that both opposites happening at the same time. So that was a chiddush that the Rebbe was. So the Rebbe says then there'll be Beis Shamai and Beis Hillel will both be true. Beis Shamai and Beis Hillel both be true. Now the truth is, there's another sefer, Chassidus sefer, the Velednik. He said interesting word. Not al derech what the Rebbe said in one aspect. He said the lost lavei, the halacha will be like Beis Shamai. But then in Elef Hashvi, whatever in Elam Haba, the halacha is going to return back to Beis Hillel. As interesting, he explains the whole thing because the avodah Beis Shamai is to be mamtik the gvuras b'shorshan, to sweeten the judgment and source. And then once you finish that, then there's a higher avodah which is pure chesed, which is avodah Beis or whatever. The Rebbe doesn't say, the Rebbe clearly doesn't say this word, but this was whatever. Stam. This is a small discussion regarding the Chanukah, Beis Shamai, Beis Hillel, and yeah. Fine.